What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well today, and welcome to Tomahawk Raceway. This is Smokester's third creation in the game now, and his first creation that he's managed to get onto the MX Bike shop, which should be very, very exciting. That seems to be like the normal progression of things nowadays. It's like people will do them a couple of like practice tracks, really learn their skills and work and improve on things, and then go out all guns blazing and then get in a track on the shop in the end. So I'm very, very excited for this. My expectations are quite high, and I'll be honest, I might be like 2 days late on this now. Smokester, he did actually send this to me prior to it even releasing, and I just didn't get around to covering it. This is going to be like first wheels on the ground action. I am excited to try it. It's going to be nice for me just playing a track that isn't my own track that I'm making, because I've been so hyper fixated on just grinding it out every single day that I've just been neglecting doing videos, neglecting just covering tracks, anything like that. So it's going to be a nice change of pace for me. So I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And of course, if you have played this track already, do let me know your thoughts down below. Again, congratulations to Smokester on this third track release. I believe it's third. I think there's been 2 prior to this. And it looks very, very large, very sprawling, and typical Smokester style. You know, that kind of orangey, browny sort of dirt with the white highlights going around, fantasy-esque, like fun flowing, big jumps all over the place. So let's spin some laps. You know, another thing that is going to be really, really interesting is trying a different track on these preview bikes, because I'll be honest, there's part of me that thinks with the amount they're pushing the previews, you know, us having 3 different previews within the space of, what was it, like 2 weeks, I really think they're pushing to get these out and done before our in-game SMX or maybe in-game Nations. I could be wrong on that. Obviously, I've got no official dates. I've not been told anything. This is all just guesswork. But if I was to guess with how they've been kind of really diving hard into making all these little changes in quick succession, I think that's probably the way that it's going to go. So, I mean, realistically, let's say I did do a bunch of practice on the preview bikes, like this preview freeze that I'm riding right now. Let's say SMX does come around and we don't get the full pack, for example, and we just ride the current OEMs that we have at the moment. It wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing anyway, because you're practicing on something that has less grip. So then when you get on the bikes that have more grip, you should then be able to go faster. Or is my brain not... Is that not working right in my head? It could work. I mean, you'll probably find that you'd struggle to turn a little bit more because the bike would feel like it doesn't want to lean over because of how much grip it has. But these bikes have really, really grown on me. They really have. The preview freeze I've been vibing with very nicely. He has spent an ungodly amount of time testing these this track out. Actually, no, you would have even made this track with preview bikes in mind. You would have started this before previews were even a thing. I'm getting very lucky with some of the downsides that I'm getting. I'm greasing some of these sections, I promise. I promise this is my first time. Someone left a comment on my video on Mouse's, what was it, High Society facility? His second one, is one that was paid, because I made a point in that video of like mentioning, oh, I've not crashed yet. I've done like 4 or 5 laps without falling off, and I was landing jumps perfectly, etc. And yeah, someone was just very like, yeah, these aren't your first laps, but I promise they are. I don't like riding tracks before playing them in videos, because I think it just takes away again from the raw reactions of them. And so far, so good. This seems very nice, very flowy. I would say it's easier than the last track he made. For some reason, yeah, some of the rhythms on the last track that he made, I was having trouble with. Can we just quad over them bumps? We can indeed. I'm not sure if they're meant to come across as bumps or if they are actually meant to be like rollers, but we can channel our inner Lawrence and just jump over all of them and save our energy and keep it nice and smooth. Whip it like Smokester. Oh, this jump better be big for me to whip it. It is indeed. Lovely stuff. Now, I'll be honest, going back to the preview, sorry, real quickly, I much more enjoy the Yamaha than the Gas Gas. In the first 2 previews anyway. This is my first time riding the Gas Gas in preview 3. It's just I've defaulted to the Yamaha anyway, which is it surprises me because I'm quite a big fan of the Gas Gas in the current OEMs. I went as far as managing to I win Thunder Valley on it. I don't know if did I win individual motos or was it just overalls? I genuinely can't remember. No, I'll be honest, boys, I got no idea how I ended up winning the outdoor season. It was all a blur. I think I just ended up being the most consistent out of everybody. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Gas Gas, and I don't know what it is, but it seems to be a bit bit off for me at the moment. That could come with time. You know, things could change. I remember hating the KTM over many betas in a row, many sets of OEMs, and then once I eventually put my head down and started like actually practicing on it and trying to get all the all of the muscle memory down for it. You can tell I've only just woken up, I can't talk properly. Then I started enjoying it. So maybe it could just be a time thing. But I thought, I can't remember who I said it to the other day, but it was like in beta, it was like early beta 18 OEMs, because we had more than one iteration. Whenever the 2023 GP season was going on, I loved the Honda outdoors. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I believe I won the GP of Udavella on it. And then the next OEM bikes came out, and the Honda got absolutely gutted, and it's all full, and nobody rides it now. And then I really enjoyed the Gas on the last set of OEMs, and now I'm not enjoying it much at all again. So I don't know where the metas are going to be, where they're going to end up. I wonder if KTM will still be OP, or if maybe Yamaha will make its comeback, because before the KTM popped off in the current OEMs that we have, the Yamaha was kind of the bike in the set before that, throughout the 23 GP season, until I tried Honda. And then what I would love to see is some of the old fast bikes making a comeback. A lot of you probably wouldn't have been enjoying the game back when the KX 250 and the Honda 250 were the metas. That was kind of when I started picking it up, you know, like end of beta 15, beginning of beta 16 time. I'd love to go back to that and just have some more variety as well. Even the KX 450 seemed to be a good go-to bike back then. The KTM 450 was also very rapid. I believe Hubchat and Rum at the time, who were the fastest two outdoors, they both enjoyed the KTM, if my memory serves me right. I remember old memories of riding around the old Baja Brawl that Hurren made, not the new one, not the kind of overcasty, dark, wet one, but the drier, light brown textured one. A lot smoother. It was rapid. We'd have to run like 9.5 litres of fuel in races just so we didn't run out, because we were just on the throttle everywhere. And the bikes might have even been grippier then than they are now. Just to put it into perspective for you, the bike didn't have as much power, to be fair, so you could actually, I guess you could technically hold on the throttle more because there was less power. You couldn't like go too fast, if that made sense, even on the 450s. Yeah, the bikes are a lot faster nowadays overall, but it brings back good memories. So I would like to see a slight change in the meta, because after a while your eyes do get a little bit bored of looking at the same colour fender all the time. But yeah, it's nice seeing some different colours now and then, and it's why in Supercross I tried mixing things up and switching bikes a little bit, but there's this annoying thing where, take this with a pinch of salt. Actually, I'll hide it with like a prerequisite that anyone who is really good at the game can make any bike work for them within reason. You could be insane, and you could go as far as winning on a weird bike. You know, I won a Supercross race on a Suzuki 2023 season, I think it was. Hells won a Supercross race on the KX 450 when it wasn't really a great bike at all. So fast people can make slower bikes work for them, but there is a limit. If there is a bike that is way slower, you can only do so much, and like, you can have fun and mess around on different types of bikes, but if you want to be competitive, you are kind of like, I guess, funneled into using a certain set. For the most part, it does tend to be the Austrian machines and the Yamaha. Yamaha's still really good at the moment as well. So I would like to see some differentiation. I would love to be hopping or swinging a leg back over the old KX 450, or actually hopping on the Suzuki 450 and not being a massive power deficit. And I even threw the suggestion, I didn't say it to any of the OEM team, to be fair, so if any of them are watching this far in, I'd be interested to know the thoughts, because I know that they do try and keep things as out the box as possible with real world values and so on and so forth. But I think it would be a really good idea, which I think is something the A-Kit bikes have done, to be fair, is get all of the bikes in line with each other from a power perspective, and then just have each bike have their own unique, I guess, suspension and, I guess, handling, because the handling is based a lot on the pivot points based on the imports of the bikes, and a lot of these bikes go back years and years, so they're not all lined up with each other. They do their best that they can to get them in line with each other, but they're obviously all going to be a bit odd, which is why, for example, unlike the TM, for whatever reason, I don't know if anybody's ever been able to make the TM go around a rough outdoors track well, because for whatever reason the suspension on it just never seems to work properly, no matter what changes get done to it. And I think it's just the way that the model was put into the game in the first place, with how the pivot points line up and everything, and it's a very, very odd bike. So I would like to see all bikes come in line together power wise, regardless of real world values. Like, you know, we know that the Suzuki isn't going to be as powerful as the KTM is, but it's a game. I know it tries to be a simulator, but it is a game. I'd like that to happen, and then it just have their own unique handling or suspensions, and then people, if they want to try and mess around with suspension or spend days tweaking bits here and there to get a bike to be more competitive, they can do. It's not just like, okay, you are going to be at disadvantage no matter what. Of course, that will end up leading to there being a bike that has the best handling, and then if all bikes have the same speed, then obviously the Meta will be the one with the best handling. But I feel like it'll give other bikes a little bit more of a chance. I'm interested to know people's thoughts on that, because everyone always suggests that all bikes be the same, but it's not as easy as that. A lot of the time it comes down to how the bike was imported, and an example I always like to give is if you go and download the factory E10 bikes and you're sitting in the main menu and you skim through them all, you'll notice that the wheels are in exactly the same place on every single bike that you skim through. Like, the wheels won't move. If you was just like to stare at the tyres, nothing would change. It's the bike around it that changes. But when you go on the OEM bikes and you move it, there'll be slight changes in the tyre position, and again, that's just how the bikes are put into the game. The amount of time and effort and resources and even like availability of files, I don't know if that is something that is possible to do on the OEM bikes. You know, they got like, what was it, like 50 or something bikes at this point, with all the 450s, 250s, 125s, two-strokes, e-bikes, like everything. It must take so much time. But either way, I'm hoping that on the previews there is, again, some slight more focus on balancing, whether that is a little bit of a nerf to the KTM, or maybe a slight buff to Kawi or Suzuki or TM, whatever it might be. That's where my mind's at. That's what I would like to see the most. Now, I have a feeling that this track was never tested on preview bikes, mostly because it would have had to been started way before preview bikes even released. Second one, I saw in the credits that Smokester gave, one of the people that tested the track out is an avid preview bike hater, as he likes to make himself very present in my comments on the preview bike videos that I do. But I think it rides very, very well on them. He did say that there's some big lines that only 450s can do, which I imagine means current OEM 450s, and I'm sure there's some absolutely big boy hucks on there. And other than there's one uphill triple that I've cased many times this preview, and probably don't learn my lesson, but you know, when you're trying to talk, it's very difficult to learn a track at the same time. But I'm really enjoying this. It flows nicely. We've got big inside ruts that hold you really well, and there's not too much in the way of like flat tracking, which is where I think the preview bikes will struggle a bit. But there's plenty of grip to be had with all the ruts holding you in everywhere. I do apologise. I feel like I've taken... Oh, soundtrack, thank you. I feel like I've taken the same lines in the corners a lot, but that just seems to be the way that the track, I guess, naturally sends you and funnels you in. I am trying to do things a little bit different now. We'll try and go around the outside here, for example, but it's a very fast, very flowy, and it's also quite forgiving. It's only really that uphill triple that I've crashed on a few times that you can get a little bit wrong. I say that. Go on, turn into a backflip. Yeah, yeet. Nope. I do think you would struggle on some jumps on the preview 250s, but that is not a rabbit hole that I've bothered going down yet. I've stayed true to the 450 life, just getting a little bit of practice in as and when I can ahead of the SMX series. I haven't touched preview 3s on Supercross yet, which I probably should do at some point. A lot of time, honestly, boys, when I say that I've been fixated on getting my current track built, I'm talking like 10+ hour days on it. It's gross. It's disgusting. I hate myself for it. I hate that I get in the state of mind of nothing else matters other than doing this one particular task, even if it means neglecting the YouTube side of things and normal day-to-day life, and you know, going and like washing up plates and downstairs, things like that, like cooking, cleaning. It's like, nope, nothing else matters. Photoshop, Blender, track, all day, every day until it is completed. I'd say I'm probably like a third of the way there at this point. I've got all of the base jumps and turn layouts in. Again, I need to add ruts, bumps, off-track elevation. I then need to go through the effort of texturing. I've still probably got another 10 or so object models to make in Blender. I then need to place all of that stuff. I then need to do the timing, and it is a very long process. But it's a labour of love. I'm hoping that I'll be actually proud of it when I'm done, because I don't think, other than like my first track, the Riverside track I released, there's not been any tracks I've been like super proud of and they're like fully polished, because there's issues to find in all tracks. Like Riverside, if you have erode, then as soon as you ride over a bit of the ground, the grass underneath comes through, because I've got the layer set up, which that is a massive L, so that's a mistake I can learn from. On the arena cross tracks, there's just little mistakes. For example, like in, I can't remember what round it was, but again, if you have erode and you hit a corner X amount of times and it gets deep enough, you'll start seeing a tough block come through the ground, because in Blender I accidentally placed one like inside the track. Again, probably like the 4th time in a row that I've done that on that jump as well. I'm sorry. So yeah, there's always mistakes, and I'm hoping this one is mistake-free. Still, I think texturing again is going to be the hardest part for me, because my Photoshop skills aren't amazing. You think with a program that I use almost every day, I'd kind of get the hang of things by now, by this point, but it's one of the things where it's like I know how to do what I do on a daily basis when it comes to like thumbnails, but when it comes to like super minute details and trying to get a mask to make it look like an actual motocross track with tyre tracks and tractor or digger marks, whatever you want to call it, skidoos, don't care. It's very difficult to do, so I'm going to be watching lots of tutorials, probably asking lots of questions in various discords. Hopefully I will get to the point of like Smokester status where we can get something on the shop. I'm still undecided where I stand in that regards, but we shall see when the time comes. But this track, very enjoyable. I think he's done a very good job, and again, congratulations on a 3rd release. More to come in the future, fingers crossed. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Again, let me know your thoughts on this track. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.
Lynn's in the zone, never backing down. Riding MX bikes, he's the talk of the town. 2022 champ with a YouTube crown. His game is tight, no signs of slowing down. Late nights, bright lights, he's chasing that fame in the digital arena. Writing his name, she's a 10 out of 10. Supporting his lane, hairline might receive, but his passion's the same.